I've always been the evangelist for entrepreneurs. I've always wanted to introduce people to the world of their own business. I wanted to get people away from the 9 to 5. Not everybody is suited for it. For those that are suited for the entrepreneurial life, I wanted to be that person to encourage them to step away from the rule. The 9 to 5 is the rule. Go to school, and then get a good job and all that. So I guess, yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way. Like, 'cause I live a pretty straight and narrow life now.
Speaking of multi-dimensional, let me ask you about skateboarding, because
Hey, love
that
it.
is
I've been waiting for this. No.
yeah. when I saw, some pictures or video that you had done, I was like, what? You're a skateboarder? I mean, that's just crazy. And it's not like you do these small little things. I mean, these are, real skateboard, I don't know what they're called, ramps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Transition
mean,
bowls, pools. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, this is just, I kind of laugh when people get wowed by it because it's something I've done since I was 12, right? I started skateboarding when I was 12. Now, here's the thing though. When I started, and that was 1976, that was a long time ago. But when I started though, skateboarding was seen as a toy, as a fad, as a passing thing, as this isn't going to last. What are you doing wasting your time on this toy? Get back into the football team, get back into the basketball team, whatever, go play real sports or whatever. So it was really looked down on. I mean, really, really looked down on.
Wow.
And so you had to really love it and really believe that, that this was something that you wanted to do, right? And so what that taught me was don't care what other people think. Don't care
Yes.
what other people think. If
Oh my
you
gosh, that's so
really,
great.
yeah, if you really feel something, you really love something, then go and do it and stick with it, and don't give a hoot what people think. So not to mention, like uh parents didn't like skateboarding, cops didn't like skateboarding.
Oh wow.
Had a few. I had one. I don't want to pretend I'm some kind of hardcore, right? But I had one run in with the law. Wasn't pleasant. Uh, but the point is, um, the point is, I learned that. But this is going to sound funny, but my first experience with skateboarding was I'm at the flea market selling with my parents. We're at our little stand. They used to have them at these drive-in theaters in Southern California.
Mhm.
And I see this kid gliding on a skateboard, and it's like silent. It's almost like he's on a flying carpet. And I'm like, wow, I want that. Thankfully, I made my own money. Like they did pay me. So it wasn't just forced child labor. They did pay me money for working and for helping them. And so I bought my own skateboard. And immediately, what I think what triggered in my brain was a few things. Number one, freedom. And I've always been a fan of freedom. I don't know why, but I was like, wow, I feel free. And I'm also in the moment. I'm also 100% in the moment, focused on nothing else but what I'm doing. And so I got into like, back then they had skate parks where you had to pay. Now they're all free, but we had to pay for the skate park, and we'd go and learn new things and learn new tricks. And part of my fun for me was finding spots to skate, finding transitions, drainage ditches, pipes, pools, stuff like that.
Wow.
And but the bottom line, it was like constantly progressing, improving, and doing better and better, learning new tricks. Now we call them maneuvers and things like that. But the bottom line is, it's just something I've done all my life. So when people go, wait, hold on, wait, you're 58 and you're skateboarding like 12-foot pools and you're doing aerials and you're doing, I don't think anything of it. I'm a fish in water, right? I'm just like, yeah, it's what I do. It's who I am. I'm not like, I like posting it because it's kind of impressive, right? It's kind of
It
cool
is.
to
It's
see.
really impressive.
To me, it's just, I post because I'm grateful that I can still do it at 58, that I can still skate empty pools, skate parks and do that stuff. Because it's, it's what I would call a healthy addiction. And I would encourage people to find healthy addictions versus potentially fall into unhealthy addictions.
Unhealthy,
Like
right?
we can be proactive and find a healthy addiction, right? Now, it might not be healthy if I break something, but thankfully never have. But
Hey, that's not going to happen.
yeah, but healthy in the sense that, man, it gets me out in the morning. I usually go first thing in the morning because I don't want to skate with any okay, I gotta admit this. Scooter kids are the bane of my existence. Okay.
Oh, really? Why?
Scooter kids, the little kids riding little scooters, because
Right?
they're super unpredictable and they're never
Mhm.
watching anything else that's happening around them. So they're like in their own little world and they're going wherever they want, and they zigzag and they move all over the place. So there's just no way I can predict where they're going to be at any given point in time because they're not watching out for you.
Right.
So what I do is I just go first thing in the morning when there's nobody at the skate park.
Wow.
um, yeah, so that's why. I mean, it may look impressive, but I'm not impressed by it only because it's something I've done all my life. You
Well,
know.
it's interesting though, because just with what you were talking about, it sounds like it provided lots of lessons for you to become an entrepreneur or entrepreneurial traits,
For
not,
sure.
caring what anyone else thinks, doing what you love and that freedom, that sense of freedom.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
I could probably write a book on the different lessons I've learned now that I think about it.
yeah, you
Uh,
absolutely could for sure.
One of the things I learned through skateboarding is how to learn.
Okay.
Um, in order to learn a new maneuver,
Mhm,
you've got to fail often.
mhm.
In order to learn a new maneuver, you've got to try it one way, make a mental note of what went wrong, and then try it a slightly different way, and make a mental note of what went wrong, try it a slightly different way. I don't know if you've seen videos of skateboarders
Oh, sure.
trying, falling, screaming, yelling, getting angry, breaking their board, and then finally they land it. And sometimes, most of the time, they're elated, but sometimes they're just angry that it took them so long. Isn't that, though, a vision of the entrepreneurial life? It's just,
Absolutely.
it's a mirror of the entrepreneurial life where we're trying and failing and trying and failing. We can do all those things like beat ourselves up and say, I'm no good, I don't think I could do this, I'm not an entrepreneur. But if you have the seed in you, the seed of entrepreneurship in you, you are an entrepreneur. You just haven't developed yourself out the way that you could or should. And you haven't you haven't yet hit that methodical approach of, okay, let me try it this way, okay, I know it's
Mhm.
there. So the essence of skateboarding is believing I can do something before I can do it, right?
You're
That's,
visualizing it. Yes.
yeah, that's the essence of entrepreneurship too, believing you
Mhm.
can be that person. And we're not even talking about the personal progression you have to make to become a successful entrepreneur. I mean, that's kind of the mirror that we're talking about. So yeah, visualizing it, you have the end goal, you have your North Star, you know where you're going. How do I get there? And if you look at any skateboarder, it's not a straight shot like, oh, 1, 2, 3, and I made it. No, it's some of these, especially the high level pro skaters, they can take weeks to learn a new maneuver,
Wow.
and they have to let it go, come back, think about it a lot, figure out, how do I do this? What's that little micro move I need to make, and so on. So yeah, there's a lot. There is a lot to skateboarding and entrepreneurship. But I also don't want to give people an excuse. If you're not a skateboarder, it doesn't mean you can't be an entrepreneur.
That's right. That's right. You can still put something out there and you can fail and then
Exactly.
make a little shift, try again. You could fail again, make another little shift. It's all about taking action and getting out of your comfort zone and just doing it. I always said, because Nike has that saying, just do it. I'm like, I think I created that when I was a little kid. And because I used to say that, just do it, and
Yeah,
that's the mindset, that I think sometimes you have to have. It's just go for it.
just go
And
for it. And that, to me, that's a huge phrase that came out in the 70s, go for it. Um, Sometimes, like if I'm standing at the top of a bowl, like I've got my tail on the coping and I'm about to drop in, and it's a little scary for me. You have two choices, right? You can either chicken out, say pull your board back out. No, 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 not today. Or you could just go for it. And in either case, you're going to get hurt. If you pull your board back out and you say no, not today, you're hurt.
Right.
You got yourself hurt because you didn't progress.
Mm-hmm.
If you go ahead and put it down and tail drop in and fall, you're going to get hurt too. This time maybe physically, but the other time, maybe emotionally. So all progress comes from at least a little bit of pain. You got to be willing to go through that little bit of pain. And I think what the winners do is they visualize the success so big and so exciting, and they paint this picture in their mind that's so amazing that they're almost compelled to go for it all the time. And their little bit of fear, or in comparison, right, their fear is dwarfed by the vision of grandeur that this success is going to bring them. I think that's probably what a lot of winners do.
Yeah. I have one of my favorite quotes. I think I can't remember. I think it's a football coach that put it out there, is winners never quit and quitters never win.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. The only way you lose is by quitting. I mean, you can't succeed without that. So I guess that's my take on skateboarding and entrepreneurship. Is just, it's something I've done all my life. I love it. It takes me out of the normal world. And somebody coined the phrase, and I thought this was really brilliant. It's dangerous meditation.
Oh, I like that. That is great.
Yeah, I had never thought of it this way, but yes, when I'm skating a pool or a skate park, I cannot afford to lose focus because I could get hurt. So my focus is so honed in. It's a state of flow, right? Your focus is so honed in what you're doing. It's like meditative. It's like nothing else matters. Nothing else is in your world. You're not thinking about that bill or that situation or anything. You're just in the moment. And man, if I could suggest anything to anybody, is find a flow sport or find something that you love to do that takes you into that flow meditative state. It could be crocheting. It doesn't have to be, hang gliding. It doesn't have to be jumping out of a plane. It could be crocheting. It could be crafts. It could be anything that just puts you in that flow, because there's something magical about that flow. It's almost like your mind needs that break to regenerate. And not just when you're asleep, but when you're awake, that mental break to just regenerate. And great breakthroughs can come from that as well.
I think there is, when you get in that state, there is a euphoria or something
Yep.
attached to it, that you're right. It does give you a break. And it almost makes, for me at least, it makes my brain, my ideas work better. I'm better after it than what I was before it.
Definitely. It's like a refreshment of your spirit. And sometimes, like after I go skateboarding, I just feel a deep sense of relaxation, and I feel all the endorphins. It just feels good, And so
I get that actually for me when I am on set somewhere. That's exactly what I get.
Yeah.
It's that sense of euphoria. I mean, so, people have asked me to describe it before, and I say it's almost like a drug, but it's not a drug. It's just a sense of truly euphoria when you're in it and after you're in it. It doesn't even matter. I mean, sometimes you're going to have to do something that is, really heart wrenching or whatever. But when you're all done, that you have presented that story the way it should have been. So it gives you that sense, of like, I did something really good. And it's
like a sense of accomplishment and a sense of achievement and all that. One thing that I was thinking also was, you said it's kind of like a drug, but it's not a drug. But actually our body creates these
you're right.
amazing
Endorphins.
drugs.
Yes.
So it's
It's a
just tapping
natural
into,
drug. Yeah,
yeah, it's tapping into your own pharmacy.
that's right. That's the best pharmacy of all, is your
Right.
own pharmacy.
Yep.
That's for sure. Well, I have to say, because one of the questions I had teed up, I was planning on asking you, but you've really almost answered it anyway. Is what makes you a rule breaker? Because I know you're a rule breaker for sure. I think you've been a rule breaker maybe from the day that you were born. But
It's funny that you say that, because when you said the theme was rule breakers, I'm like, oh man, I don't break any rules. Like
it's not
what kind
about
of,
breaking laws. It's
right?
it's
No. I was thinking like, what makes me a rule breaker? And then today when I was getting ready for the interview, I was like, oh, I know what it is. Okay, I know what it is. I've always been the evangelist for entrepreneurs. I've always wanted to introduce people to the world of their own business. I wanted to get people away from the 9 to 5. Not everybody is suited for it. For those that are suited for the entrepreneurial life, I wanted to be that person to encourage them to step away from the rule. The 9 to 5 is the rule. Go to school, and then get a good job, and then all that. So I guess, yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way, like, because I live a pretty straight and narrow life now, right?
so do I. So do I. I always have.
Yeah.
But I think when you think outside the box, and you're not doing the same thing that
Hmm.
everyone else is doing, marching, basically drinking the Kool-Aid, right?
Yeah.
Um, that is in essence a rule breaker. And I
Yeah.
think every successful entrepreneur is absolutely a rule breaker. You've
Yeah.
had to be to become as successful as you are, because you think outside the box, you do things different than everyone else.
Yeah. I think you're helping me understand it. And as I'm thinking about rule breaker, I'm thinking about creativity.
Mhm.
Entrepreneurs are not given enough credit for being creative. Like, you have to find creative solutions to problems in order to be an entrepreneur. And just the whole thought process of what I would call critical thinking. Like, as an entrepreneur, you've got to think critically and think one or two or three levels below the surface.
Mhm.
I feel like the majority of people, and this is not to talk down on anybody, but I feel like the majority of people live life on the surface,
Mhm.
just thinking at the surface level, what they got to do. And this can apply to entrepreneurs and 9 to 5ers, but I think it applies more to 9 to 5ers, that they're living kind of on the surface. But to be successful as an entrepreneur, you've got to look a little deeper. You've got to look at motivations. You've got to look at what can help people, what can serve people at deeper levels. You've got to be a little bit ahead of the pack in your thinking, forward thinking, the vision, all that kind of thing. So yeah, I guess so. I guess I have a rule breaker.
You are a rule breaker. And actually, you kind of described the epitome of selling too, right? When you were talking about that,
Yes. Hmm.
because if you don't do that, it's really tough to sell. It's all
Yeah.
about digging and uncovering. And, I use, when I teach, I use the analogy of an iceberg. When you see an iceberg, you
Hmm.
see 20% of the iceberg above the water. And then everything else, that 80% underneath, that's where the gold is, right?
Yeah.
That is, if you can get to that, that's where the goal,
Hmm.
is. Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow, it's interesting you brought up sales, because I had a sales career early on, and when I got successful, when I got more successful at sales, was when I started to go, as they're talking, I'm taking notes on everything that is important to them. And then when I came back with my proposal, I would show them how my proposal was going to serve everything that was important to them. And that's when sales became so much easier, you know?
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
totally agree. Totally agree. So let me ask you this. So what's next for you? I know you're doing the crypto, currency, yield farming
Mhm.
courses, and you're working with a partner with that.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess you could say I have twin businesses now. I'm still wanting to bring the online course business to the world. And I've got some big plans for that. I can't really get into the details, but I've got some big plans to go really big with
okay.
bringing the online course business to the world. those will be, you'll be seeing, you'll be seeing my ads all over on Facebook, YouTube, and whatnot in the next 2 or 3 months.
So maybe I could get you to come back and we could talk about that.
That would be great. Yeah, that'd be great. That would be a good timing for that. And
Yes.
then the other twin business is crypto. I've fallen in love with crypto back in 2017. But what's happening in crypto right now is it's not just, hey, buy this coin and hold it for this length of time and you'll make money or make a return. There is so much to it. And again, that's something we could probably talk about on another episode, but the whole world of money is being decentralized.
Yes.
The way that the world of commerce was decentralized by the internet, and the way that the world of communication and socializing was decentralized and disrupted. It's probably a better word. So when the world of money begins to be disrupted, that is a huge opportunity for entrepreneurs to get involved and to see the many opportunities that are coming. And there's so many that I developed a YouTube channel called The Cryptopreneurs, just to like handle the news, the constant change that's happening. Now, I see it because I'm in it right now, but the average person in the population is like, oh, crypto, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, maybe I'll buy it. I don't know. What is it? Will it ever really work? Is it digital money? Like, I don't know, right? So the world's there. And I'm like 5 levels deep going, guys, this is incredible. And so somewhere between the world being indifferent and me going, this is an incredible new world of money, is going to be this convergence where suddenly the world is going, whoa, like
Right.
Money is completely being reinvented. And what that's doing for the average person is it's providing so many opportunities, not just in rates of return and profit and things like that, but ways to monetize even daily activities that we now take for granted. And that alone is exciting. Just to think that you'll be able to, I created a video showing like a typical day in the life of somebody and how they're just living their life. But in almost every aspect of what they do in that given day, they're getting rewarded for it. And so like they don't even have to have a job anymore. They're just getting paid to live.
Wow.
Share their data, share their this, share their where they're going, share their geolocation. The stuff that right now internet companies pay dearly for, the data that they pay for, when that gets disintermediated and we start getting paid for that stuff, lights out. The world will change. And so again, that's a whole different interview probably, but I'm getting excited about that. And of course, bringing my online course training to the world.
You have so many things going on, needless to say. And I really appreciate you spending time. I mean, this wraps up the interview with this amazing man, Dave Espino. Actually, Dave, before we go, where can people find you?
Well, it's being rebuilt right now, but my website, daveespino.com, probably the best way. We're going to be doing a major rebranding there along with this course program and whatnot. So daveespino.com is the best place to find me. If you're interested in crypto and crypto opportunities, find my YouTube channel called The Cryptopreneurs. And those would be the 2 best places.
That's great. Well, and that'll also be in the show notes as well. But again, Dave, thank you so much. You have gifted entrepreneurs with so many great nuggets throughout this. And we'll definitely have to have you back because you're just this amazing source of information. So
thank you.
Thank you again for being part of the Professional Rule Breaker podcast and for being a rule breaker.
My pleasure.